Did you know that you can play Minecraft with your friends over the internet without paying for hosting fees or any kind of online servers, and without having to make any changes to your router? Using something called Tailscale, which I'm a big fan of, and Windows Subsystem for Linux, you can essentially use your home computer, your home PC, whatever you play Minecraft on, and set up a server just for your friends. And the best thing is that I'll have a step-by-step tutorial linked on my Notion page so you can click through and follow along. Do you ever remember a time when you wanted to play Minecraft with your friends, but you got bombarded with technical jargon, or it was just ridiculously expensive and you just didn't really know where to start? And to be honest with you, when I first looked into it, it just took all the fun out of gaming. I wanted to play with my friends, but it was just either too complicated or it was just too expensive and not worth the hassle. But today, in this beginner-friendly tutorial, I want to show you how to get it all set up from start to finish. We're going to be using Windows Subsystem for Linux and a VPN called Tailscale that you're going to set up on your home PC without any port forwarding, without any of the crazy networking terms. And literally all you're going to do is just forward an email to your friends with the specific key that they need to log in, and that's it. And the best thing is it's completely free. You do not have to pay any hosting fees or anything like that. Now, what is Windows Subsystem for Linux and Tailscale? Now, Windows Subsystem for Linux is essentially a bit like a virtual machine running on your own computer. So it's a bit like a computer running inside of a computer. And when paired with Tailscale, which is a modern VPN, it creates the perfect environment to play Minecraft Bedrock with your friends across the internet without having to make any changes to your router. And as I said, it's completely free running on your own PC. So what we're going to go through is we're going to set up Windows Subsystem for Linux first, and then we're also going to install a Linux distro called Ubuntu. And then once we've done that, we're then going to download the Minecraft Bedrock server and get that configured on Linux. And as a final thing, we're going to set up Tailscale. I'm going to show you how to make sure you stay nice and safe and secure. And then I'm going to show you how to share that with your friends and invite them to your gaming session. Now, what you'll need is a Windows PC running either Windows 10 or Windows 11. You'll also need 4 gig of RAM, but ideally 8, and at least about 25 gig of storage for Windows Subsystem for Linux, obviously Ubuntu itself, and then the Minecraft world. Now, most modern CPUs should support it, such as any Intel or AMD processors. And obviously you need a stable internet connection, so ideally plug it in if you can. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that if you want your friends to jump on the server when you're not home, you have to keep your PC on. That's probably the only gotcha with this setup. But anyway, enough talking, let's get started. The first thing we need to do is we need to enable Windows Subsystem for Linux. So you're going to click on the Start menu and type in Turn Windows Features On or Off. Then you're going to scroll down and you're going to see Virtual Machine Platform. Make sure that's ticked on, as well as Windows Subsystem for Linux. So these two here we want to tick on. Now, I've already done it because what it does is when you tick this on and press OK, it will restart the computer. And once you've rebooted, it's time to launch the terminal. So we're going to type in terminal in the Start menu. You can use the command prompt, but ideally you want to be using the terminal. And it's just overall a much nicer user experience, but also it will come in handy in the future. So the first thing you want to type in is WSL --install and press enter. So it will go ahead and just configure everything, get everything set up. And you will get this little pop-up here, but just ignore it for now. We don't need it. You can now go ahead and install the distribution that we need. So we're going to type in WSL --install--d Ubuntu 24.04, because that's the one we're going to be downloading. And then we're going to type in --name and we're going to call it Minecraft. Then press enter and it'll go ahead and download that specific version. So it'll download Ubuntu 24.04 LTS, but more specifically, it will name it. And there we go. It's now downloaded. And you can see that it says distribution successfully installed. It can be launched via WSL-d Minecraft. So that's what we're going to do. -d Minecraft. I'm going to press enter. The first thing it wants to know is a user account. Now, obviously, give it a logical name. Now, for me, I'm just going to use Bobby. Now, here, make sure you set a really secure password. This is going to be the user that will create the server, so you don't want anybody getting access to that. Now, the first thing I recommend is you run a sudo update and a sudo upgrade. And you can run it in one command by just connecting it with the 2 ampersands here. And then you're going to press enter, and it will take a little bit of a time to upgrade depending on how old the system is and so on, but just let it do its thing. And there we go, it's just updated everything. I'm just going to type in clear to clear the screen. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to install a couple of tools. These are the tools we're going to be installing. So we're going to be installing wget unzip curl. and then the -y just confirms the installation. So we're going to press enter. So it's now time to download the Minecraft server, and we're going to keep it neat by creating a folder for it. So I'm going to type in make dir, and then I'm going to call it Minecraft-server. And then I'm going to cd into it. So cd stands for change directory. And you can normally autocomplete by hitting the tab key and then enter. And then if I clear the screen. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to download the actual Bedrock server we can see here. Now, this command's a bit long, but we need to type it all in one because we need to use wget to download that stuff. And then we need to set in user agents. And it's easy enough to just copy everything across. And again, this will all be in the link in the description. You can follow along in a step-by-step written guide as well. Now, here's the file that we're going to download, and this is the latest version, but obviously make sure you download the latest version yourself. I'm going to press enter, and there we go. It's just downloading it now, and it's as quick as that. So we're nearly there. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to unzip that file, and you're going to have to type in sudo unzip, and then the file that you have downloaded. So in my case, it's bedrock-server 121.80.03 because that's the version I've downloaded. Now, I'm not going to do that because it's going to take a long time. So let it just do its thing. So once everything's been unzipped, this is what your folder structure should look like. So if you type in ls-la, that means list all. And then you can see here, we've got the zip file. We've got also a couple of other files here. And the one that we are concerned with is going to be server properties. But before we do that, we need to do something called a change mod +X to make this file here executable. Now, if you ever get operation not permitted, what you need to do is you need to type in sudo and then change mod +X and then server. And then there we go. That's now changed it so we can execute this file. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to change some properties in the server.properties file. So we're going to type in nano because that's a text editor. Then I'm going to type in server and then autocomplete with tab. And here we are. Now, there are a few changes that you can make. Now, the first one is right at the top, and that is your name of the server. Now, I'm going to call it Minecraft Demo because I don't have much imagination, but you call it whatever you want to call it. Now, the other thing you can change is the game mode. Now, currently it's set to survival, so it's kind of your traditional game mode, but you can obviously change it to creative where you can fly around and just build stuff, or you can make it an adventure. I haven't played Minecraft in a while, so I'm not sure what the adventure is. Now, another one that you can change is difficulty, so you can make it easy, peaceful, hard, whatever you want it to be. Also, you can change how many players you want it to be. So here it's currently set to 10, but obviously the more players you have, the more taxing it's going to be on your computer. Now, I generally leave everything as is. The only change I make is on the server port, and I usually change it to something that's easy to remember. Now, in my case, I'm going to change it to 10,001, and then the second port, I usually change it to 10,002. I don't know why, it's just easier to remember than the other number that there was, but you're going to have to remember this because this is going to be really important. Once that's done, you're going to press Ctrl-X, and then Y to save buffer, and then you're going to press Enter, and that's it. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to now create a file, and that file is the one that we are going to be executing every time we want to start the server. Now, ideally, your computer never goes to sleep and it just stays on and the server stays running. But for whatever reason, if your computer reboots or anything like that, there is a file that you're going to have to run in order to start the Minecraft server. So we're going to type in nano, and then we're going to call it start-server and then .sh. That sh bit is important. That's going to give us a completely empty file. Now, the steps to follow along, as always, will be in the description, but this is what we want to paste in. It's a bit of a nothing path, but essentially what we have at the top is our shebang line, which is this #!1. And then here, LD library path, and then we're going to have .bedrock server. So that's the file that we made executable earlier. Then you're going to click Ctrl-X, Y, Enter, and that's it. And just like before, we need to make this file executable. So we're going to type in sudo change mod +X and then start server like so. And that is basically it. The server is now ready to go, but we are not just yet going to deploy it. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up Tailscale. Now, Tailscale is a VPN. It's absolutely fantastic. They are not sponsoring me, but I wish they were because it's honestly a brilliant little app. And I'm going to show you how to set that up and install it. So first, you want to open your web browser and type in Tailscale. And then at the top, it's going to say login. Now here, select one of the providers. For demo purposes, I'm going to use my Apple login here because I haven't got any devices on there. Now, whilst this is signing me in, all your friends are going to have to download this app. So just tell them to go to that website and just click download. You will send them the login details later because you're going to invite them in a specific way. But once you're on the page, in the top right, you're going to see download. And I'm just going to click download. And here, obviously, select the operating system that you're using. In my case, it's Windows, and I'm going to click download Tailscale for Windows. It's a very small file. Just go ahead and install it. And then once you've installed it, you should see it in the bottom right-hand corner here, next to the clock. It's these little 9 gray dots, and they're gray because you haven't set up anything yet and you're not connected to the Tailscale network. Now, we're not going to bother signing in just yet because I want to show you how your mates are going to be able to sign in without having to set up an account or anything like that. So back in Linux, you're going to have to paste this command in because we now also need to install Tailscale on Linux. So you're going to type cal-fssl and then the URL that you can see here, and then you're going to have to pipe it into SH, and that essentially means that we're pushing it into another program to install it, and give it a second and it will go ahead and install. We now need to make a couple of changes in Tailscale itself in order to secure it a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into settings, and then we're going to go into user management, and then here where it says user approval, we're going to tick manually approve new users. That means nobody dodgy can essentially jump on your Tailscale network. Now, you're going to then click on device management, and here it's also going to say manually approve new devices. Make sure that is ticked. That needs to be ticked. We now need to add this Windows Subsystem for Linux onto our Tailscale network. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on settings again. At the bottom, we're going to go down to where it says keys, and here we're going to generate an auth key. Now, as a description, I'm going to call it Minecraft Bedrock. Everything else can pretty much stay as is. I'm going to click generate key. And here we are. Here we have the Tailscale auth key. So I'm going to copy that. Then we're going to type in sudo tailscale up, then dash auth key equals, and then you're going to paste in what you've just copied. Press, and that will add this machine into your tailnet. Hit enter. Give it a second. Now we need to go back to the admin console. And if we click on machines in the top left, we can see here, it says this machine needs approval. And this is where you click the 3 dots and approve it. And there we go, this machine is now on my tailnet. So the worst part of it is done because the machine is now live, and you can see it's an IP address here. And that is the one that you're going to be sharing with your mates to join the server. So we can now technically start the server. So I'm now going to type in ./start, and I'm going to autocomplete it and press enter. And this should start the server. And there we go, we can see the server is now running. So this is now started up. And because this has joined the tailnet, essentially this computer is now accessible from the internet, but only for people inside your tailnet. And this is how you are now going to share your auth keys with your friends and get them to join this server. So let me show you that. So in order for your friends to be able to join this Minecraft server, you're going to have to invite them in. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And it's going to be very similar to what we just did. So we're going to click on settings, keys, and here we're going to generate an auth key. Now we're going to name this my PC, just so I know what it is. I'm going to click generate, and I'm going to copy that key again. And you're going to have to create this one for all of your friends. So we can see that the server's running. We don't want to touch this now. What we want to do is we want to click on the drop down here if you've got terminal open, and then click Windows PowerShell. Now to join now, we're going to have to type in Tailscale up, and then --auth key equals, and then we're going to have to paste that in, press enter, and that will now join me into the Tailscale network. But what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to approve it again, and that means nobody dodgy again can join this network. And here we are, we can see it, and I'm going to click approve, and we can see that this computer has joined because it's running Windows, and then the other one is the server because it's running Linux. And you can actually go in and rename this. So I can call this Minecraft server, like so. And that way I know that the Minecraft server is connected and I can see its IP address. And that is the IP address that we need. So I'm now going to show you how you can essentially join that game that you've created, because the server's already running, you just need to join it. So obviously this is Minecraft Bedrock Edition. We're going to hit play. I'm going to wait for it to load. Now I'm deliberately keeping it in just a window here. Now on the main menu here, we're going to click play. Then we're going to click servers. And here we're going to press add server. Now we're going to give it a name, and I'm just going to call mine Minecraft demo. Now On the server IP address, this is the IP address that you're now going to have to enter, which is the Minecraft server IP address. So 100.98.65.67. Now I've just renamed my PC, but ideally you want to see all your friends in here and then making sure it says connected. So I'm going to go back to here, I'm going to paste that in. Now here on the port is the one that we needed to remember, and I called mine 10,001. And here I'm going to type in add and play. Press proceed. Now I'm going to go ahead and connect to the server. If I now go back to my Linux, you can see the player that has connected. And there we are. Give it a second, let it load, but you are now essentially able to play on your own Minecraft server. Now all you're going to have to do, as I said, is just make sure that you create a separate key for all of your friends, send it to them, and then wait for them to essentially just join the game. They're going to have to do the exact same thing as what you've just done, and it doesn't matter who it is because everyone's just joining that server. And the reason this works is because of Tailscale. Tailscale essentially creates a network, but it's safe, it's secure, and it's only accessible to those people who you approve. So nobody else can get into that Tailscale network. So if you're unsure of anything, you don't have to approve it, they can't get in. But now that's it. Go and have fun and play around and do whatever it is that you want to do in Minecraft with your friends.